Greetings. Hello there. It's Tuesday night, September 1st, and I've already got some of my fall decorations out. This is, we're discussing tonight weight loss problems, weight loss resistance. Why is it so hard to keep it off? Hidden reasons, hidden reasons for weight loss resistance. I may not give you a lot of help on what to do, general help, but I'd like to give you some information that I think will help you with your problems. I'm very qualified for this because I've had weight loss resistance probably since I was age 40. And so I'm very excited about talking about this because I have kept off, about 25 pounds for at least 2 decades, and now I've just lost another 20. And I'm going to tell you how. Hello, Tammy Gonzalez, my dear heart girl, heart daughter, and I'm going to talk about some reasons that you may need to look into of why you're not losing weight, because I think that's part of what is happening with us. I'm hoping you can hear well. I'm using my new iPad tonight. I'm getting used to sitting a little bit of a different way, and so because I had to go up a little bit higher, and I want to make sure you can hear me. I turned off all the fans and everything so I could have it all off, and I wanted you to know that. Greetings. I see more people coming on. That's great. I appreciate you all so much. I love contacting my girls like this. I love seeing all my students from all over everywhere. Okay, this person says she can't hear. So you need to make sure your volume is way up. Good. Tammy Gonzalez says good son. It's a brand new iPad. Should be just fine, and I'm sitting barely a foot from it. So you should be able to hear with no problem. Hello there, Melissa Gonzalez. I see all kinds of names on there of people I know. You know, I am so blessed because I have had such a great opportunity to be used of the Lord in so many students' lives. My naturopathic nurse, she thinks I'm amazing. She's always telling me, "Oh, you reach out to everybody," and she doesn't. She's only known me for a year, but she watches my videos. And she is an amazing nurse, and we love each other. And she is the lady who helped me find out why I was not losing weight. And I didn't go to her for that. I went to her because I did not feel good. So let me have a prayer, and then we'll get started. Father, I ask, Lord, that you just bless this. Lord, I wish someone tonight could get help, that they could lose weight, because all of us that have weight problems, it bothers us. We may not talk about it. We may not admit it. But it is a very big burden, and more I'm concerned even as we age, that as we age we get sick, then the weight complicates everything. It's a comorbidity. It can cause us to have all kinds of complications, which we would not have to have if we weren't overweight. And I ask, Lord, that lives would be changed. I ask that you would bless my words. Lord, you know I didn't feel real good today. I pray you'd clarify my mind, help me to be able to read my notes and speak clearly, and be with me, Holy Spirit. Pray you bless each person within the sound of my voice, Lord, in Jesus' name, amen. I think that it is very important to realize that it's not all fault. We beat an awful lot, especially in Christianity. We can be very hard on ourselves. But this takes something. I'm going to give you a couple factors that you'll be interested in. In my mother's generation, they were told that it was healthier to give a baby formula, and they were given injections to suppress their breast milk. Now, I'm a formula baby, and now that we know about formula babies, we now know they have a 30 to 40% greater problem with weight. No baby should ever be fed formula. Now, I say that, don't go on a guilt trip, okay, if you're breastfeeding, if you're not breastfeeding. Some women, because of all the endocrine disruptors, because our diets have been so bad, they can't produce breast milk. I mean, we don't have normalcy in this situation in America because our foods have all been modified. Our meat has hormones in it, and I'm going to talk about that tonight, and I'm hoping I can get all of this in about 35, 40 minutes because that's about all I think people really want to spend. Like a small TV show. Hello to my Tudor relatives who have me on the TV down in Florida. Some of my greatest buddies, they have been so good to us. So you got an issue here when you don't feed a baby breast milk, okay? Mother's milk, which is designed for that baby. In fact, God made it, it's designed perfectly for that baby. No two breast milks are alike. And there's antibodies in the breast milk that help the immune system. So right off the bat, I was dealt a blow by Dr. Spock and all these people who in the 1950s, I was born in 1950, in the 1950s and 60s, they determined that it was going to be healthier for women to feed formula. I don't know what kind of formula I had, but it couldn't have been too good back in 1950. I saw some of it has evaporated milk in it. Of course, lots of chemicals. Folks, your body needs real food. Babies need mother's milk, and then they can go to real food. Mashed avocados, mashed bananas, all kinds of green vegetables. And now, of course, there's a lot of kids that are out there, young kids. When I say that, you're in your 20s and 30s, you're wanting to feed your children healthier. And you can make your own children, your own baby food. So first off, we got an issue for anybody who's has not been breastfed. You're gonna have a strike against you, okay? Then we've got antibiotics, and here's the problem: we give a baby something from a can that is not living, and that baby is a living cell, and it's growing fast. Millions and millions of reproduction of cells every day, every hour, and we're giving it dead food. So right off the bat, the kid starts having a runny nose, then an infection, then we give them a vaccination, then they go on antibiotics. And by the way, antibiotics are another strike against all of us that have had them. They cause weight gain. Now, I'm not using this as excuses, okay? Because most of you know me, know I've been on a healthy diet since I was 45, okay? Or actually 40 I started. So I'm not saying this as an excuse. I'm saying behaviors always cause, and causes are always multiple. And in medicine, they don't ask why enough. I want to ask why. Why is someone who's eating salads and fresh fruit, and small amount of fresh fruit, and vegetables, and healthy almond flour bread, things that are healthy, not losing weight? And so now if you're cheating a lot and you're not following some kind of a diet, you're not going to lose. But even then, okay, why would a person eat a piece of bread and gain 5 pounds? My friend and I, Angie Zachary, were just talking about this. Why would, that's not right. That means something's messed up in their body. So strike one, we've got formula fed. Strike two, we got antibiotics, okay? So strike three, we've got steroids and birth control, okay? And birth control pills are very deadly for weight gain. I have a dear friend, and she had cancer, and they gave her steroids. I don't even know if she knew she was getting them. But they give you what they call a pre-IV now before you take chemo. And in that IV are things like steroids and Benadryl. They're all a medication to keep you from responding to the side effects at the moment of chemo. So my friend took steroids. Steroids, they suppress the immune system. They make you gain weight like crazy. One of the worst drugs you can ever take. And so this friend, I'm guessing she gained probably 100 pounds. It is serious. And I have many students and friends, and I've got students that are now long passed away that did all the drugs and they didn't do anything for them. So you've got several issues, and then we got body types, okay? I've always jokingly said I'm a big bone German girl. And when I was dating my husband, aren't you afraid to travel alone and go fly places and speak? And I went, well, what do you mean? Like someone's going to attack me? He goes, yes. I go, who wants to attack a big bone German girl? And he went, I do. And that was it for me. And that's the humor for tonight. And so anyway, my husband is a very tall, big Serbian man. He was 250. And he's maintained a 50-pound weight loss now for over 20 years. I've maintained a 45, well, I shouldn't say maintained, I've maintained about a 30-pound weight loss, and now I've taken off just recently because I discovered a hidden problem that I had. So you got body types, okay? Certain body types lend themselves to being weight, okay? For example, apples, I'm an apple. I put my weight around the middle. Pears, women that are pears, they will get weight below the waist, and it's not quite as bad as an apple, but there's a body type issue at stake. And then there's bananas, apples, pears, bananas. And of course, I'm simplifying it. They're ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorphs. There's different body types. Even a thin person, overly thin, can be unhealthy. It doesn't mean that everybody thin is healthy. That's not my point. But we know that obesity is very bad. It's bad for your joints. It's bad for your immune system. And even when you're eating healthy, and especially I'd like to help some of you who have really made some changes, but you're still not losing. That's who I'd like to help tonight. I'd like to help anybody that's under the sound of my voice. So I know the frustrations, I know the guilt, I know the hassle, I know what it's like to eat one little half-baked potato and gain 3 pounds. That's not normal. So I made the mistake when I was young of over-dieting. And I dieted a lot in my 20s and 30s, and at that point I could lose weight, but then I would go right back to eating too much or the wrong things, and especially the wrong things, because we didn't have a nutrition class in nursing school. There was no teaching about that, and back then, remember, the foods weren't as damaged, and so I didn't know a lot about nutrition, and so I ate the wrong things, and so then I would gain it back. Well, when you yo-yo back and forth, you wear out your metabolism. It gets to where you go on a diet and it doesn't work. So I over dieted and so when I hit 45, I said, okay, lifestyle change. This is a lifestyle change. And I went to predominantly vegetarian food, lots of whole foods. Didn't go to a McDonald's. I think I've been inside a McDonald's maybe 4 or 5 times in the last 25 years. I shocked one of the young men that works here at the ranch, and I said, I haven't had a Big Mac in 25 years. He goes, what? And he was on his way to McDonald's right then. And so so you got a lot of issues here, okay? And by the way, according to Dr. Cal Streeter, who was my mentor, your body, once you've taken a pill, and especially the pills back in the 70s, 80s, a birth control pill, they can rearrange your entire hormone system. I've seen a lot of brides take it and gain, 20, 30, 40 pounds right off the bat. And so that is an issue with us. There are foodies and there are non-foodies. Thankfully, I married a foodie. My husband and I both love food. But there are some people, like Loretta Walker, she doesn't care about food. She'd eat peanut butter and jelly every day for lunch for the next, till the millennium. I mean, she's not a foodie. Now, unfortunately, she's married to a foodie. And her foodie husband loves to explore different foods, and I'm a lady, I like different fusions. I love Thai food. Thai food can be very healthy. I love the good Asian food. I love anything vegetarian, of course. And I like the different. I like flavor. And so, thankfully, I married a man who's a foodie also, and so there's no problem there. But non-foodies usually don't have trouble with. They don't eat that much. They don't live to eat. They eat to live. And so there's different body types, different backgrounds, different. And you have, again, let me say, you have a 30 to 40% chance of being overweight if you were formula fed. It's nothing to hold against your mother. I mean, it's just like right now, everybody's into this world of Starbucks, and these young kids. Some of the people last week when I talked about it, they said my kids are hooked on it. Well, sure, it's full of drugs and sugar, so it's very addicting. And you gotta admit, the whole cafe, the Starbucks cafes, they're cool. There's a lot of ambiance, and so, but you know what? We've been scammed. We've been scammed by so many things. Boxes of cereal. They're full of sugar and dead food. They don't do anything for people. We don't have them in our house. We just don't eat it. We will occasionally eat some buckwheat cereal. But pretty much, we've been scammed a lot by advertisers, the pop company, etc. So I'd like to start with some of the hidden reasons. One of the ones is antidepressants. By the way, the antidepressants are the 3rd most common prescribed drugs in America. And if you go with an anxious problem, you might probably could have a thyroid problem undiagnosed, but they'll give you Xanax or they'll give you Prozac or they'll give you something for depression or anxiety. By the way, I'm going to talk about stress. I may do that next week. I'm going to talk about stress and what I do for when I'm stressed or I feel anxious about something. I'm going to give you some natural things to take. Number 2, artificial sweeteners. Another great scam on the American public. Me, I did it. I used to drink 4 or 5 Diet Cokes a day back in the day, back in the 80s and early 90s. And the NutraSweet, actually, it will increase your cravings for sweet food and eating more food, and it directly affects your brain's reward center. So artificial sweeteners, not good. Saccharin, by the way, the same company that produced Agent Orange that hurt our Vietnam vets, saccharin and NutraSweet. Now they found out NutraSweet's actually causes neurological problems in the brain, and it shows up on certain tests. If it's a functional medicine doctor, he'll test you and you can find it. Third one is endocrine disruptors. We've talked about this before. Now remember, the endocrine system, it is the most intricate system in your body. It's unbelievable. It controls, I'm going to read this for a minute. Endocrine system has 9 endocrine glands, which includes the pancreas, which secrete almost 100 different hormones. A hormone is a chemical messenger that regulates the body's responses. So 100 different hormones that regulate every function in your body right down to the cellular process. So right off the bat, here's a young woman. She goes on the pill. She gains 30 or 40 pounds. By the way, the pill causes you to, it slows down your thyroid because, again, your thyroid, these 9 glands, your thyroid, your hypothalamus, your thyroid, your pituitary, your parathyroids, your ovaries, and the male testes, all of those glands work together. And people mistakenly think the pancreas only has to do with blood sugar. The pancreas is extremely important because of digestive enzymes. And you may need some with your stomach because sometimes people aren't digesting their foods very well. So your pancreas is also a endocrine gland, and it's affected by the thyroid. It's affected by the female hormones. So all the glands, think of it like a bunch of dominoes sitting straight up. And when one domino goes down, it knocks down all the dominoes. And I believe that's what happened when we introduced the birth control pill in the 1960s to America. It really damaged our ladies. Think about this. We take all these medicines in and we excrete them out, and they go down into the ground. They're not destroyed, and so they go back into the soil, the water, the foods. And so all these drugs that we've got are endocrine disruptors. They disrupt the system that controls our weight, our metabolic process, which is how we process our food, how our metabolism. My husband has a great metabolism. He just can burn food. I think we found out though that he ended up having a tapeworm. It was more a tapeworm than his metabolism, because we're now doing a detox, and he's getting rid of some of his parasites, and I'm hoping and looking forward to him feeling better in the future. But endocrine disruptors, okay? So the amount of weight you put on, or the fats that you accumulate, okay, it's not solely dependent on diet. Folks, if counting calories and exercising would do it, I would be a stick. I mean, it doesn't always work. And we have a lot of factors involved in that. Now, sadly, what we've added to America, there's millions and millions of people that are overweight. We're one of the most overweight countries. And sadly, I see our little kids and our little young kids with big bellies. And because of the processed foods, we're getting worse instead of better. We have more diabetes. It's the 3rd leading cause of death now, diabetes. And diabetes is a multi-endocrine gland system failure, because you've got issues with usually there's issues with thyroid, pancreas, other things. So how well your body is able to metabolize glucose and fats is what is controlled by your endocrine system. I remember one time we went to see Dr. Streeter, and I was biking about 25 miles a day. I mean, I was biking all the way to Hammond. If you know Maryville, I was biking all the way to Hammond and back, and I was eating my standard lots of vegetables, drinking water, and I actually was feeling really well, but I could not I was stuck again, and I think I said in here I was going to tell a little bit about my journey. In '07, I joined Weight Watchers because I think because of menopause, I ballooned up to the highest I'd ever been. Well, two things. I went there for accountability, okay, which is very important, and I weighed in every week, and I had a great leader. She was really pumped, great attitude, a lot of spizzerinctum, fun to listen to, and I enjoyed being motivated and also checking in. I did not eat their box food. Okay, I just joined. I went to the meetings because I needed Jen, and I learned two things there: drink more water. Actually, three things: drink more water, move more, and add vegetables to everything. Like she said, if you're going to eat scrambled eggs in the morning, just throw in peppers, onions, add vegetables to everything. And so my husband and I at that time, we were collecting cans. We learned it from Stephen Tudor. We started collecting metal and recycling. It was fun. We walked all over our neighborhood and picked up flattened cans, and we had a great time doing that. And I started moving my body a lot more. And so that was what I learned there. But even though I was following the points, I came to an abrupt halt, couldn't lose anything else except 20 pounds. And she kept encouraging me, my leader did, but my doctor said he thought my adrenals and my thyroid, he said, your metabolism's broken, Carol, all the stress you've had. And so I just, I got nowhere, so I stopped that. But I did keep the 20 off, and I did add those behaviors to my life. So that was good, and I stayed steady there and maintained that. And I want to tell you, listen, don't beat yourself up. If you've lost some and you've kept it off, that is great. But I'm talking to people here, and I've talked to ladies since I've been doing these videos. They weigh 250, 270, 300, 350. Some of them are young and have cancer, and I talked to somebody recently that had cancer, took chemo. The chemo blew her heart out. She had to have a heart transplant. She's only in her 30s. I mean, we've got some sick, very sick Christian sisters, and it breaks my heart. And we, having the extra weight is just, it's very hard on us, and it's hard on our joints, it's hard on our body, it's hard on our spirit. And so there are hidden factors. Number 4, the stress, cortisol. Stressful conditions cause our body to release the hormone cortisol. Interesting thing I just read. I'm reading a book I found at my secondhand store. Live Right for Your blood type diet. I had a doctor once that went by this, and I'm not necessarily endorsing it, but I want to read to you something that's very interesting. Do you know your blood type? Here's another factor. Blood types, okay, while all the blood types respond to stress by secreting more cortisol, type A's, I'm a blood type A, not a type A personality, I'm talking about your blood type, okay? It's either A, O, A, B, or B. All right, and so, and plus or minus, it doesn't matter. While all of the blood types respond to stress by secreting more cortisol, type A's start with a higher basal level in their blood all the time. That means type A's are walking around with their physiology in a higher state of adrenal stress than other blood types. They also don't benefit as much from other blood types when they practice stress-reducing exercises. Stress-reducing exercises exhaust me totally. Now I found out I produce more cortisol than people who have, like, for example, my husband is an O blood type. He can handle some meats that I can't handle. And so blood type makes a difference, all right, because I produce more cortisol puts on the belly fat. And somebody's asking me, are you going to get your own YouTube channel? No, I don't think so. I could. I have over 1,000 people have to be watching you. I think you have to have 1,000 subscribers to get a YouTube channel. But I really don't want to open this to I don't really want to open this to the whole world. I'd like to just help my sisters and brothers in Christ and missionaries, pastors' wives, people in the ministry, people who are trying to live right. I really want that. But you can share it all around everywhere. Share it. I'm thanking you for that. So when your body is flooded with excess okay, so when I became a Medicare nurse, I got downsized in 2010. Here's what I would say to myself. I'm so stressed. I'm working in a stressful field. I am so stressed. That was not good for me. My self-talk was causing me to reinforce the fact that I was already producing cortisol. So some people produce more cortisol than others. Another hidden reason. I had to, you know what? I changed my self-talk. I started saying, look, God knows where I'm at. God can take care of me. We can stress ourselves out, and it does control hormones. I'm going to talk more about that when we talk about stress. Next, number 5, sleep deprivation. Sleep problems and insomnia are very seriously, they have a lot of problems. Not getting enough of the deep sleep causes an imbalance of hormones. And it results in an excessive, which also leads to exhaustion and then also leads to binging food. Number 6, any kind of a metabolic disorder, as in hypothyroidism, PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome, diabetes, menopause. By the way, a lot of people jokingly say I wasn't that overweight till I hit menopause, and I get the menopot right there, the belly. And so any disorder like that, it's very hard for diabetics to lose weight. Actually most diabetics are on too much insulin. And in fact, I just heard that metformin has been recalled because there's an ingredient in some of the metformins that cause cancer. Metformin is glucophage. It's the most common diabetic medication. In fact, I took it in the past. I don't know whether I would take it again or will continue even recommending it. But a lot of diabetics are on that, and the recall, by the way, is on the internet. You need to look into that. You may want to change medications. But a lot of problems with diabetes is because they're recommending you to eat too many carbs, and you just got to get off no sugar and processed carbs, white bread, wheat. Even you want to go to a lot of vegetables, and I may talk about that in a future video. The seventh, and let's see, seventh hidden cause is parasites, and I'd like to tell you some good news about me. When I moved down to Missouri, I was having some shortness of breath, other symptoms. I knew my blood pressure, my vitals, I knew my diet, so I knew I wasn't having heart problems, and I did not want to go to an ER because I thought they'll just check me and put me through heart tests, and that's too much stress. And so, but I was short of breath. I was so short of breath that I would have to stop in the middle of getting dressed to catch my breath. And so I don't panic and go to the ER for anything. I have been to the ER in the last, 15 years. I had a broken foot, and I had to go at least get a cast and get an x-ray. I think people panic a lot and they don't know what to do. And I'm hoping I might even do a video on first aid to help you know what to do with cuts and bruises. I really like to stay out of hospitals. I like to keep I would like to keep every organ I've got, and I'm praying that I don't have to go to a hospital again before I go to heaven. And the chances, 150,000 of people I think died last year by accident in the hospital. Lots and lots of mistakes. I've seen them. I've been with doctors. I've been in surgery. I've seen the mistakes, and it's going to happen. And so therefore I'd like to avoid it and use God's way of healing, which is food, water, sunshine, exercise, etc. So I prayed and prayed and prayed. I looked online for a 5-star DO. I was hoping to find like another Cal Streeter that I had for 35 years up in Indiana. And so I looked and looked and looked, couldn't find anything. And I asked the Holy Spirit, and I do this a lot now. I say, put the thought in my head of what I should do. Put the thought in my brain. But I've gotten so many great answers to prayer, like something I've misplaced. Lord, please put in my mind where that is, and He directs me right to it within a few hours. Well, so I prayed, and I said, Lord, I don't know what to do, but I've got to get some help. Not because I didn't have quality of life like I wanted to. And so I called my associate pastor's wife, because I heard they had been on Hallie Yeager's diet. And she said, we don't go to doctors, we go to Nurse Evelyn. I go, who is Nurse Evelyn? And so I think I vaguely remember knowing something about a scan, maybe 15, 20 years ago, but it was too expensive up in Indiana. And so I made an appointment with this lady. And I went there, and it's a computer program. It's called a biomeridian scan. If you get the right scan, and by the way, there's not a lot of them, that they're not that easy to find. I'm sitting down here I'm in holistic territory. It's awesome. I'm in the Bible Belt and holistic territory. I have a naturopathic doctor and I have a naturopathic nurse, and they work in two different offices. And so I went there, and she basically it's an electro. She scans your fingers with a probe, and you're grounded. The other hand holds a rod, and you're hooked up to a machine. A computer. It's a computer, and we now have software to do the testing. It's on the form of a muscle testing, but it's all electronic. And at the end of the test, she took my history. She didn't take my history first. And then she goes over the paperwork with me, and my whole front page, all the organs were all red. Red means stressed. And there's a number. You're supposed to be right between 45 and 55, and my numbers were up in the 50s and 60s. And my organs were stressed, and she then told me that I had evidently been bitten by a tick. I had Lyme bacteria in my body. This actually by meridian scan will show bacteria, viruses, fungus, mold, and parasites. I had 7 parasites, and I didn't notice the parasites are all long weird names, so I didn't pay any attention to that. But when I heard the word Lyme, my antenna went up, because I know several people that are chronically sick with Lyme, and just thought of something I had to write down real quick. And so I said, Lyme, I've got Lyme, and she said, yes, and he got you good. And at the end of our talk, she came around, and I had told her that a little bit about my parents' history and how I've been a nurse to everybody, and took care of my boss, Mrs. Evans, and took care of my parent. My parents died 6 weeks apart from terminal cancer. I was their nurse, and I told her, and so she came around the table, and she put her arms around me, and she hugged me, and she said, now it's time to take care of Carol. And when I left there, I had 2 bottles. They were 20, it was like a bottle like this of drops, herbal drops. They were, I think one was $16 and one was $20. And that was enough for 2 months, and I started on an anti-parasite medicine. And the other one was, I think, a hormonal balance. And so, long story short, when I've been back to get scanned again, that was last November, and on Thanksgiving Day, I told the Lord, I in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning Carol Fry Tudor. Thank you that I have Lyme, and I hope I can help other people. I did not know I would get to feeling so much better, and in about 6-8 weeks, I had a rough 6-8 weeks, because I started detoxing, and when you detox, you can feel sick, you can feel like you have the flu. And my husband saw how good I was doing. He goes, I'm going to Nurse Evelyn. So when I went back in the process of this, I said, I looked up all these weird names like leishmania, something, all these parasites have weird names, and amoebas and fungus. Did you know I had fungus in my body? And by the way, when you have fungus, it's a condition of out of control candida caused by over medication with antibiotics. You cannot lose weight. And not only that, you don't digest well. You've got a variety of different problems. And so I had thought it before. I had tried everything, but nobody had told me about the antifungal diet. And so Evelyn told me to try the antifungal diet. And I asked her, I said, Evelyn, how can a person with parasites / worms, how can a person be fat? She said, oh, Carol, she said, your body is holding on to everything it can hold on to. Holding on to every bit of fat and calories, because the parasites are eating things. And so, and I'm going to say I caught one of these parasites in Israel, and I was in Israel in 1984. So I'm sure I've had some of these 20 years. Don't get grossed out about parasites. I'm gonna do one whole talk on those, because I'm sure a lot of people have them, and it's pretty normal. If you have animals, if you kiss your dog, there's a good chance you've got a parasite, because you're going to catch a microscopic egg, and it's going to be in your body, and it's going to go in, and they can wreak havoc. It is very common, I found out now, as a problem of weight loss resistance with parasites, and or include fungal, the 5 invaders. I also had mono when I was mono, and that's the Epstein-Barr virus. And by the way, the Epstein-Barr virus, it can lodge in your body in all organs, and it can cause all kinds of havoc, and it doesn't leave. And you have to do some real, some real medication, some like homeopathic and or herbals and supplements and diet to get rid of this stuff. So I started on my journey Thanksgiving, and I did not have a real good first 5 or 6 weeks. I didn't know the diet. I ate some chocolate at Christmas that made me sick because it had a lot of sugar in it. And by the way, parasites love sugar. If you have sugar cravings and they're bad, that could be one of the reasons. And so anyway, I got to feeling better gradually, and I got more energy, got a lot more energy, and I actually weaned down off of caffeine. I was using caffeine for my energy, and so I got to feeling a lot better. And I added, believe it or not, the tutors taught me about the ketogenic diet, and I'm going to talk about that sometime. The ketogenic diet, if you don't overdo the meat and you don't leave off the vegetables, it's actually the antifungal diet is basically that. It's lean protein, lots and lots of vegetables, reduce the grains, because parasites like sugar, they like grains, they like pasta, they like all that stuff, cookies, candy, stuff like that. And so I began doing the antifungal diet, which it'd be close to a keto, not quite as much meat. People with keto think they should get up and eat a pound of bacon. No, or 16-ounce steak. No, keep the protein at 4 ounces, but you want to crank up the fats, the good fats, the coconut oil, the avocado, the nuts, the seeds, the chia. There's a lot of great things. There's so much more on the internet about health that you can find today. So all of a sudden, I started having my clothes were getting loose, and I go, this is weird. And I had decided when I came to Missouri, it's not going to happen. I've tried. I'm 70. I've been trying for 30 years. I'm not going to lose weight. I am going to take the stress off of me. Don't worry about it anymore. So I go to the scale, and all of a sudden, I had dropped 4 or 5 pounds, not even trying. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm eating my good desserts that are made with monk fruit and almond flour. I got the best chocolate chip almond flour cookies. Oh my goodness, and dark chocolate, all made with monk fruit. And so I start. So basically, since February 27th, I'm losing about a half a pound every week. So I'm now down another 20 pounds, and effortlessly. I was walking, I was drinking my water, I was doing my same things, but I want to tell you that once you start getting rid of some of the hidden causes and dealing with them, some of you need thyroid help. You've got a sluggish thyroid and you don't know it. You will not lose weight if your thyroid's not working. If you're cold or hot all the time, if you're fatigued all the time, you've got some thyroid issues and sadly, we don't have real good thyroid tests. Now, advice. First of all, let me say this. I advised in my first videos, find a functional medicine doctor, find a chiropractor, do your research, search and see what you can find, naturopathic doctor. Several of my friends I've talked to, one of them's in San Diego, they found a person who does, she's a nutritional expert, she's a PhD in nutrition. They've gotten her and they're using her for she doesn't do the same scan, but she does a similar scan. And she deals with nutrition and she deals with gut issues. And let me say this, I see that I'm watching my time. You see my clock back there. You know, back in the 50s and 60s, okay, so I had my tonsils out, another factor against me, immune system, had my appendix out. And let me just tell you, no one was more of a sugarholic than Carol Fry Tudor. Carol Fry back then. I mean, I loved sugar, and I myself did I did some major damage to my body. And so we did not know that the biome, B-I-O-M-E, the microbiome of the gut was so important. And I had a lot of sinuses. When I worked at the college, I had a lot of sinuses. And the doctor there just kept giving me antibiotics, never asked me why. Well, when I went on my Hello Acres diet and went off dairy, all my sinuses disappeared. Some of you need to seriously think, if you've got sinus that you say, well, I've just got allergies. No, you don't just have allergies. Allergies and sinus and asthma, they're all caused by the wrong foods or foods that have the wrong ingredients. And so I went off of all dairy. I do eat goat cheese. I love goat cheese. And goat cheese does not affect the body. Goat and sheep cheese are in the Bible. They don't affect your body like the dairy does. And so I went off all dairy, no more sinuses, completely cleared up. However, I really did some damage to my gut. And our gut, our stomach, I don't mean to sound rude and crude, but our gut, our intestines, our gut and our brain are connected. So when we damage our gut through the wrong foods, drugs, chemicals, soda pop, too much caffeine, too many syrups, too many sweet coffees, etc. When we damage our gut, well then that's another additional problem with the weight. So I want to encourage you to drink organic coffee. If you drink it, you can find it many places. Bulletproof coffee is an excellent coffee. It's a little pricier, but I drink less coffee, but I enjoy it more. Organic coffee, I don't put anything in it. I take that back. Once in a while, I will do a bulletproof. I would like bulletproof, but that's a little pricey for us. But I get organic coffee, and once in a while, I'll get a almond milk creamer, just for a treat, like during the holidays, but I really don't require it. I love my black coffee, so does my husband, Richard. And I drink today I had a carrot, apple, ginger, parsley, spinach juice, which really helps my intestines. And I'm really working at getting a healthier gut. And so while you're looking and thinking about this, you need accountability somewhere. Again, Weight Watchers is at least a plan. I didn't eat their box food. Their box food was just full of junk. But I went there for the accountability, weighing in, and I went there to be encouraged and to be lifted up and be positive and learn recipes. They have a great, Weight Watchers has a great vegetable soup that's like 0 points. And so I got some recipes, but you'd have to do it and not, like I said, not participate with all the box food. Second, get help. Whether, I just talked to somebody today that was going to get an appointment with me, so I lost that. She found I help her, and she's got a very bad infection, and this man knows what to do, and she look, seek. So second, seek help, and third is don't give up. Do not give up. There's a lot of pieces to this. I realized with what I've been teaching the last couple of weeks, I thought people could be really confused because I talked about juicing and how much it helped me, and I think I've said if I had cancer right now, I'd be doing 100% George Malcolmus, and I'd be doing vitamin C IVs. I've got my plan if I end up getting cancer again. But I did introduce some clean meat to my diet, and I enjoy it, and I learned some things from the Trim Healthy Mama sisters. In fact, my sister-in-law always encourages me to use those. If you haven't looked into it, and just an interesting thing, 2 sisters, they're Christians. They saw all their friends were not able to get the baby weight off. And they saw all these different people, like health food people who were eating too much fruit and pasta. And they saw all these different friends that could not lose weight. So they began experimenting in their own kitchens, and they are quite the ladies. And they are the system is called the Trim Healthy Mama, and it's 2 sisters. They've got their books out. They're online. You can find them anywhere. But there's some people that it's not an easy program to follow, and you do have to get some different ingredients. But I will tell you this: they've got it down. One of the most important things, when you eat a meal, you don't want two sources of calories. Main calories. Like for example, in America we have a hamburger on a bun and French fries and a Coke. Okay. Too many carbs in that meal. So my husband likes veggie burgers. And so when we do a veggie burger, I give him a bun because he's not overweight. I give him a bun. I don't have a bun. I just have my veggie burger piled up with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles. But then we both have a small amount of sweet potato fries. And that's all I have. And no pop, of course. And so then there's another kind of meal. So we can either have too much fat and carb in one meal. And when you do that, you're going to store the calories. So the Trim Healthy Mama system, and that's a real easy way to say it. It was a little bit complex when I first started seeing it. But I will say this. You want desserts that are healthy. They've got them, and they've got smoothies. They've got they've got recipes. They have 2 big books like this, and they are amazing. And they did a lot of scientific working with combination. They made up their own. They've got their own baking blend, and it's got coconut flour, konjac flour, which is from a Japanese vegetable, and almond flour. And that baking blend is excellent. It works on so many things. And they made the work for us. See, I can't just go look at a recipe and decide what flours to put and make it raise and make rolls and pizza crust and all that. I can't do that. Now I did something tonight. I can do anything with vegetables. I made zucchini medallions tonight, and they were delicious. And you know what I used for the crunch? I used crushed pumpkin seeds, which the parasites don't like. And I used coconut. I dipped them in coconut oil. I put 3 different kinds of spices. I put goat cheese and crushed pumpkin seeds, and then I baked them at 400. Delicious. And so, but I can do anything with vegetables. But when it comes to baking, I have to really follow a recipe real strictly, and I can't make up my own recipes. So if you can, more power to you. By the way, if you're doing something and it's working, go for it. I try to never put down people's plans. A lot of people keep asking me, what do you think about Plexus? What do you think about Zeal? What do you think about this? I'm going to deal with that. Maybe next week I'll see. But you know, if something's working and you're losing steadily, not too much, you know, these ketogenic people that say, lose 30 pounds in 1 month. No. And the chances of you regaining it is very high. And so I want to encourage you, number one, you need accountability. There's got to be some place you weigh in, or that you have accountability with a doctor, your DO. And number 2, get help. If you want to call me and I can interview you, and maybe I'll figure out some things you would not have noticed by asking you questions. A lot of people message me and want me to answer on my phone, and I do sometimes. But a lot of people ask me 40 minutes of questions, and I never hear from them again. And so, but what I do is I ask a lot more questions and get a thorough medical history, I think, than the average doctor. So that's what I would do that would be different, and I might be able to give you some options. And I don't tell people what to do, but what I do is I interview, I ask a lot of questions, I get your medical history, I get how many drugs you're on, things like that. Then I say, now here are some options. And several people have gotten help that way, and then they make their own decision. Don't give up. And let me just say this. I, as a 70-year-old, I pray every day that the Lord protects me from falling. The number 1 cause of death over 65 is falls. And here's why. Complications. If I break a hip, then I have to go to the hospital. Then I could have a blood clot. Then I could have pneumonia. And right now, I could get the corona. And so I want to avoid hospitals. Number 1. Number 2, when you're overweight, you don't move in a bed as easily. I don't want to have, if I am going to be, I'm hoping to stay on my feet until just before I go to heaven. In fact, I told my husband, I'm hoping we can both die in our own homes, taking care of each other. I don't have a daughter. I don't have a Carol Fry to take care of me like I took care of my parents, but I had both parents with cancer at opposite ends of the mobile home, taking care of them. And I did their morphine shots, and I got hospice to help, and they got to die in their own beds. And that's my dream, that not that I want to die, but what would be better is if we all flew up and met Jesus in the air. But I have a prayer that the Lord protects me from, because here's the thing, when you're larger and you don't have good skin tissue, you can have skin breakdown. We were going to have a preacher here recently. He's very overweight. They called and said he had cellulitis. He couldn't come. You're opening yourself to complications it's a comorbidity. Obesity is a comorbidity. And so I want to be down to where I can I want to be able to, I'm walking now, I walk a lot. And when the weather's good, I've been walking 1 to 2 miles a day. And I started that after I got help for my parasites. Before that, I was fatigued, I was short of breath, I did not feel good. And you may not have those symptoms, but parasites cause about 50 different kinds of symptoms that you don't know. Same thing as thyroid. So seek help. Find out what is causing you not to be able to lose weight and or keep it off, and or you eat a piece of bread and you gain 5 pounds. You need to get to the root of it. And then last is don't give up. Can I say this? God bless you during this very shaky time we have, but you know what? We got a great God, and he's already been to the election and back. He's already been to 2020. And I just keep thanking him for everything. I'm so thankful I'm down here in a small town. I'm not a Medicare nurse in 3 counties doing wound care. I don't know. He's just been so good to me. And I just keep majoring on how good he is. And no one was more shocked when I went to the scale and saw that I had lost 10 pounds without even trying. So there's something going on. I want you to seek help. I want you to not beat yourself up. And I want you to realize not all of it's your fault. Some of this is the media. Some of this is all the stuff. We believed that Diet Coke was good for us. It's no sugar. We believed what they told us, and it was a lie. And so we can make a change. My husband and I, he's 76 and at 70, we are treating with a naturopathic nurse. Right now, we're both detoxing I'm detoxing for candida, he's detoxing for tapeworms. And it's not easy. Some days are not good days. I didn't feel good earlier today, and so I made juice and I tried to help myself so I could feel good for tonight. Thank you so much for watching me. God bless you. Stay healthy, drink water, walk, eat vegetables, and I'll see you